Okay, chicos. So yesterday we started with inverse trig. Quick reminder about formulas, because seems many of you have forgotten. So as you guys know, we have our x and y and our coordinates. X is our cosine. Sine is our y. On the other hand, in terms of formulas, right, you can also write it like this. You know that cosine theta is equal to kaka a over h, which is the same thing as x over 1 in a unit circle, or just x. Sine, as you know, is equal to so over h equals to y over 1, because 1 is our hypotenuse in a unit circle, which is the radius, so just equals y, right? And lastly, one you gotta remember is tangent theta is oa, so o over a, which is the same thing as y over x. Okay, just keep these formulas in mind. Quick refresher. All right, so make sure you have 4.7 in front of you here, and whenever I ask you to please stop, try the problem yourself, and then restart the video when you're ready to go. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at sine. Let's look at number 11. Let's look at number 11 here as a quick refresher. Number 11. So I'm looking at this problem right here. Go ahead and pause the video and try yourself. All right, we're back. So you try the problem yourself. Let's go and look at the answer here. So I know that inverses, they look for what? What the inverse solve for? Right, they solve for the angle. So this problem is essentially asking you, sine of what angle is equal to negative root 2 over 2? And whenever you see an inverse, you gotta think about the quadrants. So sine inverse is regularly quadrant 1 or quadrant 4. Since it's inverse and it's a negative number, negative root 2 over 2, that means it's in the negative section for y, right? This is equal to y. So that I'm in quadrant 4. So I'm going to look in quadrant 4 there. What is my answer? What angle will give me a sine value of negative root 2 over 2? Yes, you should have written down 315 degrees or 7 pi over 4. Did you get it correct? If you did, great. If not, you got to make sure you are paying attention. Let's look at the next problem here. Why don't we look at number 15? A little more difficult. Let's look at number 15. So, number 15 here, pause it. Try the problem yourself. See if you can figure it out. All right, we're back. So we're looking at number 15 here. And I have to first think, okay, what am I looking for here? I'm looking for tangent inverse of negative root 3. I know tangent is the same thing as y over x. And I know that I'm going to be dividing, or I can think of it as sine over cosine. So I have to divide two terms here and get negative root 3. Let's look at quadrant first. Tangent inverse will be in quadrant 1 or quadrant 4. Since it's a negative, I'm dividing. Since it's a negative, and I'm dividing, so I know that one must be positive, one must be negative. It can be positive, negative, or negative, positive. My only option here is quadrant 4, because quadrant 1, both x and y are both positive. So I know for sure I won't be in quadrant 4. And next thing you know, I'm going to look here. Well, I'm asking myself on a unit circle. You should be looking at unit circle with me, by the way. So I'm looking at my unit circle. I'm going to sketch it here really quick. I have two possible coordinates as my answers. One of them is probably the 330, which it looks like root 3 over 2, comma, negative 1/2. The other one is probably 5 pi over 3, because I have 1/2, comma, negative root 3 over 2. Well, I have to ask myself, which one, y over x, which one sine over cosine will give me negative root 3? And in this case, it's actually 5 pi over 3, or 300 degrees. Let's just check it out. Let's check it out. So I have y, in this value, y and x. So I know it's going to be negative root 3 over 2, divided by 1/2. When we divide by a fraction, we know we have to multiply by the reciprocal. So then that becomes negative root 3 over 2 times 2 over 1. And we see here that the 2 and 2 divide become 1. And our answer, we are just left with negative root 3, right? So the correct answer here for this whole expression should be 5 pi over 3, or you can write 300. The tangent ones are always a little bit trickier, but let's go and turn to the back of the next page, and let's go over some combo problems where you have to do 2 steps at once, okay? All right, let's take a look at number 26. Go ahead and pause the video, try it yourself before you watch the solution. All right, let's jump to 26. So, 26, we have 2 issues here. We have our cosine, and then sine pi over 3. We won't deal with the sine pi over 3 first. PEMDAS, we're going to go from inside out, parentheses first. So you're looking at your unit circle here. What's the y value at pi over 3? And unit circle will tell you that it's root 3 over 2. So we can rewrite this expression as our cosine of root 3 over 2. And now we're asking ourselves, our cosine of what degree is equal to 3 over 2? Or cosine of what degree, or of what angle is root 3 over 2? And if you look on your unit circle one more time here, you know that you should be in quadrant, either quadrant 1 or quadrant 2. And that's the domain restriction on our cosine. And since our x value here, root 3 over 2 is positive, I have to be in quadrant 1. Because in quadrant 2, my x value is negative, and my cosine is negative. So I know we're in quadrant 1. Furthermore, at root 3 over 2, my values for, x is root 3 over 2, so my degrees are equal to 30 degrees, or pi over 6. All right, our last problem for us to try together is let's do 28. Take a look at 28. Our friend Tangent is back. Pause the video, try yourself, and see if you can figure it out. Okay, we are back. Let's take a look at number 28. So, let's deal with a tangent inverse of -1, and then the cosine afterwards. So I'm looking at tangent inverse. What quadrant should we be in? Yes, you should be like, okay, we're in quadrant 1 or quadrant 4. Well, tangent, remember, is y over x, or sine over cosine. So I'm dividing 2 numbers and getting -1. So 2 things. The negative part, now you know that it has to be one positive, one negative. Or negative, positive, negative. Because when you divide opposite signs, the answer is negative. So that has to be in quadrant 4, because it's going to be x positive and y negative. Not in quadrant 1, because they're both positive. The coordinates are both positive. So we know that's going to be in quadrant 4. The one part tells us that it has to be the same on the top and on the bottom, right? Anything divided by itself is equal to 1. Once again, 1 positive, 1 negative. That's what negative sign tells us. And that to be the 2 terms dividing has to be exactly the same, because that's how it works in dividing. So if I look at the unit circle in quadrant 4, the only place where they're the same, but one is positive and one's negative, is at 315, or 7 pi over 4. Because right there, you have negative root 2 over 2 as your y value, and root 2 over 2 as your x value. You know that this will become just -1. So then, the inside part of tangent inverse of -1 becomes just, you can write 315. And then now this question is asking the cosine of 315, or the x value at 315 degrees, and you know that's just root 2 over 2. And that's your final answer. Okay? Please go ahead and continue to work on the rest of the circled problems of assignment number 27. If you finish early, great. You guys have a lot of makeup work to do, because many of you are missing many assignments. Miss Henry will let you know what to do next, and it will also be posted on Google Classroom. Thank you.